All right, looks like we're streaming live. I'm going to go ahead and call the North Watcom District 21 Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order at 1:06 p.m. Sorry for the slight delay of a few technical difficulties here, and we'll begin with roll call. Bruce Ansel.
Kimberly McMurray.
John Crawford.
Jason Vanderveen.
We'll add Henry Hollander to our.
Henry Hollander.
Thank you. We'll note that Commissioner Bosman has an excused absence. He's got a chaplain's meeting that he's attending today, and we're waiting on Commissioner Fisher. We know he picked up his packet. I think maybe he's in transition back to home after picking up his materials. So we'll wait and see from him. Public comment is suspended due to the governor's latest proclamation. I kind of suspect that's going to continue on month by month by month, and we're not sure when it will end. So I'll go ahead and open the Volunteer Pension Board meeting, and the first item is the approval of the October 15th minutes. Is there a motion to approve said minutes?
Motion.
Been moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. We have a new volunteer to approve. Chief?
Jeffrey Bowles is going to be a tender support volunteer at Station 12, which will give us 2 in that area. He works up on the North Slope up in Alaska and is part of the fire brigade up there, and so brings some experience and training, and we're looking forward to seeing him out on calls.
All right, so we need to have a motion to approve him as a new volunteer.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Any other issues before the Volunteer Pension Board? Chief?
Nope. Nope.
All right, I'll move to adjourn the Pension Board meeting.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Pension Board meeting is closed. We'll open the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. The first item is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes our October 15th meeting minutes, staff reports, financial reports, and vouchers. Fortunately, this month, our revenues came in strong. We weren't sure how we were going to be finishing off our year, but our total revenue for October was $2,252,424.32. The expenditures for November were $696,589.04. Of that, the employees' direct deposit payroll was $317,958.69. Payroll taxes voucher $66,688.75. Benefits voucher $203,185.36. Monthly expenditure voucher $101,117.62. And lastly, capital projects apparatus voucher $7,638.62. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Just for the record, if you went through those vouchers, you'll see that we're beginning to get some payment vouchers for the RFA work. Karen Reed and Bill Cushman, and some of the attorney fees that are associated with the RFA. And although we are paying the full amount this month, 50% of that will be invoiced to District 4 as per the planning committee rules that we agreed to. So if you were curious why those numbers were big, especially Karen Reed's, that was for more than 1 month. Well, it was what, August, September.
August through this month.
Yeah, so several months of which we're on the hook for 50% of that. So we'll be invoicing District 4 probably after this meeting.
Yep.
Any other issues or concerns? Okay, all in favor?
Yeah, I got a couple concerns. I'm looking at
Okay.
the bill from Northwest Communications for a headset.
Headset repair? Yeah. So what we've got is on ladder 63, there is dissimilar types of headsets. We've gone to basically a wireless Bluetooth style of headset so that the operator at the tip has connectivity with the crew on the ground. And that when that system was initially put into place, everybody thought that those two systems, that a wired system and a wireless system, could talk to each other. And it turns out that that's not the case. So we've had to upgrade the entire thing to a wireless system. That is why you're seeing headset repair at $1,300.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to buy a new headset?
That's what we did.
So it's not necessarily a repair, it's a replacement.
It's essentially a replacement of the system, yes. The guts were replaced.
I thought it was kind of costly at $1,300 for the repair for a headset.
Yes, sir. I completely understand. I was expecting that question.
Right. Thanks.
Anything else? Okay, hearing and seeing none, all in favor of approval of the consent agenda?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Commissioner meeting reports. Kimberly, were you going to share, this might be a time for you to share briefly your, was the seminar you attended?
Actually went to 2 webinars. One was on peer support and one was on PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of overlap between the two, but a lot of great programs. Some we already have implemented, some have cost to them and some do not have cost to them, but I need to spend more time with Kelly and talk to her about things that we can do and maybe add to what we already have in place to help our firefighters.
Great. I know that Commissioner Bosman said that he attended one of those as well and thought it was quite well done. So
They were both very well done.
nice. Thank you for attending those.
Yeah, and I have 10 pages of notes if you want me to, or 12.
I would like to talk to you about it sometime when things calm down and other family issues settle down as well. So thank you. Mr. Crawford, did you?
Yes, sir. I attended the all local meeting here last week. I'll forward those minutes out. Basically, it was short and sweet. We will be establishing a 5th medic unit in the city of Linden, and Medic 10, which sits up on the Smith Road, will be going to Station 12. There was a lot of talk about what the legislator is going to do, or how the legislative issues are going to be dealt with by the state commission this year. So it looks like it's all going to be Zoom meetings and kind of hard to get our issues out to those that need to hear them. So I will take those minutes and forward them to you when I get them from Holly.
Very good. We have had a couple of meetings, the chief and myself, with the chair of District 4's board, and good meetings, good discussions. I think being able to meet face to face has resolved some of the concerns and tensions that seem to accumulate when you can't just talk to somebody and you start sending emails or text back and forth, and then the receiver gets to interpret it how they want, and you don't always get to the the root of the problem. So I don't know that I want to share all the gory details of that, but let's just say that it was a positive meeting and we're moving forward, and and all of this will, I think, move us closer to completing a successful RFA process. So, anything else?
Ansel, if I could, just real quick,
Sure.
I just wanted to add that to what you said about the meetings with Commissioner Hanson, and just that I appreciate both of the chairs' leadership of their boards and where we're going. I think it's really the whole mood around everything has changed, and I think there's a positivity and transparency and good comments, good honest comments being shared back and forth. And it was really, I got to say, after we met yesterday, and after that meeting yesterday, I felt better than I have all year about kind of the direction that both districts are going, that we will really be able to pull off what's best for the combined district, which is the RFA in the end. So thank you to both of you.
No, hey, it was good. I agree. Like I said, when things closed down, we had a lot of moving parts happening, and not being able to get together and hash them out has been an issue. So I'm glad we got to do that. Move on to the local 106 report. I just got a message from Kenneth Cunningham that 106 will be participating in the Thanksgiving basket distribution in Blaine on the 24th of November. I think that was all going to be sort of modified from the past of how it was going to be handled, and taking the food out to cars versus the clients coming in. So Henry, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, Ken's right. At the city, I was going to bring up at the city council meeting, they were very gracious and thanking us for all the help we've done over the years for the Thanksgiving basket program. And you're correct about the COVID process. The only people going inside the building will be the volunteers working. The baskets are going to be picked up at the front door and delivered outside. So there will be no inside building going on. All the workers will have their temperature checked and, checked for history and all of the typical COVID preventions that we've been taking. The other thing the city council was really concerned on was all of their small businesses with the shutdown, and a lot to do with the restaurants putting tents up and making sure that the fire district was in support of these tents and their locations. And I've already told them previously that we would work with all of the small businesses and do everything we could. And so far we haven't turned down a single application. So they do need to get a permit and an inspection by us. And how do I want to say this? We're kind of bending the rules a little bit on some of the distances and issues with the tents, but because we're in a pandemic, we want to do everything we can to help these small businesses are already struggling. We want to do everything we can to help them stay in business. So that was kind of the gist of the city council meeting last week.
Very good. I, appreciate that we are trying to help these businesses and not keep them from being able to survive. It's bad enough as it is. So,
right.
As long as we're making sure that the key safety issues are being addressed, that's probably the biggest issue.
Yeah, the tenting materials still have to reach a fireproof rating. But for an example, in some cases, you're not allowed to put the tent within 20 feet of the structure. And we're being a little lenient on that and letting the tent be a little bit closer, just because it's common sense.
Sure.
To make it work. Now, that'll all change when we go to phase 3 and the regulations will be implemented a little bit more, but we're doing the best we can without risking any safety factors.
Sounds great. Appreciate that. Legal issues, I haven't heard or seen any current things going on other than our extended proclamation from the governor. Anyone else know of anything legally pending? All right. Unfinished business, the 1819 audit is complete, I understand, and we're waiting for a report.
Actually, I was told as I was walking to my computer to start this meeting, I was told that we just got another question by the auditor. I'm not sure what it is. I'll check it out after the meeting, but he also mentioned that once that he's ready to go to the completion phase, he just needed one thing. I'm not sure what that is. So
Probably our billing address.
continues.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Regional Fire Authority Planning Committee, we've included the October 22 meeting minutes, the shared values and principles, and there's nothing new that we haven't talked about or seen before. Committee recommendations via Karen. Do you know what that?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Well, there's a third item on my agenda about Karen was gonna do some committee.
That was the baseline plus
Okay,
discussion that we had.
right. So we did meet Kimberly, myself, the chief, and Mark Chamberlain week or two ago now regarding what our service level is supposed to be now, even though all the positions aren't filled out, and what would be a realistic staffing model for us to be a little bit more efficient in the future. So that's just a planning document. It's going to be reviewed at the RFA planning committee level. And it's going to need to await the costing model that Mr. Cushman is working on, because as we all know, the biggest costs other than building fire stations is personnel. So with Mr. Cushman's model, we would be able to plug positions in and see what kind of current budget status we have, where the mill rate might end up having to be, and or at some point either lifting the lid or passing other bond measures. So it will certainly give us an idea where to start our mill rate. For those of you who aren't aware, with the AVs going up, and at our special meeting, we had to approve that needs to get us to the 1%. Our mill rate went from 123 to $1.14, I believe, it's the next year. So we're significantly below the $1.50 that we can legally collect, and we're going to have to work with that financial model, in my opinion, to find out, what we need to be sustainable and have these needed adds to our staffing model. We'll move to new business. The potential library levy, that was a correspondence sent out. I haven't heard anything new back from them. They were saying that they were going to be looking at up no more than 10 cents. I've got to delve into that nice 199 page taxing document that Jenny was so kind to send to me that talks about the junior taxing districts, et cetera, and how that might impact us as an RFA versus a fire district. I still think that we're second to a library district in our jurisdiction, even as an RFA, which would, oh, I just fell over. Yes, it was shocking. Would limit us to $1.40 if they took 10 cents, but I still haven't had that confirmed by either Richard Davis or Karen Reed or anyone else. So maybe that'll be a topic at our next RFA planning committee meeting. Anyway, we've got some wiggle room here to raise a little bit more funds. So, any questions on that, on the library levy? It's for the Birch Bay Library only, not Birch Bay and Blaine, which before COVID, that was sort of the direction the library district was heading. And since then, they've backed it back to just Birch Bay, which all the people that I've talked to in the Birch Bay community that are on the library committee were hoping that they would do it that way because they feel that the voting population in Birch Bay would be more likely to approve it if it were just the single entity and not the city of Blaine included. Resolution 2020-21 is a mitigation rate resolution. And I believe this is something that Henry, you have been working on. And so I will turn that over to you to, sounds like we're adding just roof structures.
Yeah, that's kind of what it boils down to. So we've had this chart here, I think it's in your packet for since 2010, and then we updated it in 2016. And in a nutshell, what we do is we figure out what all the costs are for these particular call types to these particular structures. We divide up all the numbers and come up with a fee for new buildings. And that fee is then charged as a concurrency mitigation fee on all new projects. Occasionally we get a project that doesn't fit in any of the parameters. And this roof only type structure has been, it's come up 2 or 3 times in the past, but the projects have never gone through. The building permits have never been acquired. Well, we have one now on the guide where they're wanting to put up 7 of these structures. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it'll be phased in, probably 2 or 3 at a time. And in a nutshell, what it is, it's an RV storage facility, and all they're building is a roof. And just sitting on poles, no walls, no doors, no windows. And so it's challenging to charge them the same fee for a structure of the same square footage that has walls, floors, windows, doors, heat, cool, and all of that type of building. So looking at the numbers, we figured that our call response to a structure like that would be about half of what it would be to on an industrial building. And industrial manufacturing all falls under one classification. So it was my thought actually that we should have an additional rate that would apply not only to this project, but to anybody else that wants to build a roof only. I think we called it a canopy. Yeah, and the correct title would be a canopy type structure. I ran that past John Sitka, and he said, that's fine to add a category like that, but you'd have to get it approved by your commissioners by resolution. And once you approve it, if you approve it, then we would just add it to this table. And I think I put an example in your packet of where it falls and what it would look like. So this is the first one that's gone completely through the process and is ready to pull permits. They're actually holding up on their permits depending upon your decision today on if you think that's an appropriate charge. So that's kind of the purpose of the resolution.
Okay, so resolution 2020-21 is before us. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
Or any questions?
Well, we'll put it on the floor as a motion and then we'll have more discussion.
Move to approve.
I'll second it. Does anyone have any further questions? Henry, I looked at that. It seemed, I mean, you know, with my level of expertise, I would have to say we trust your level of expertise to tell us what you think is appropriate for this. And, you know, it seems like probably the biggest fire load in something like that would be the actual vehicles that are parked underneath it. And seeing the one I saw on the freeway the other day, it's usually a totally involved meltdown anyway. So, yeah, I don't have any issues with this. Anyone else?
When I look through the 7 structures, how many bays will there be for RVs in each?
I just have the square footage and I don't have it in front of me.
There's usually anywhere from 5 to 6. There's a couple of these out on Birch Road in Bellevue. And they stack them in there like 5 or 6 long.
I think it was, I think each structure was 50 by 150, if I remember right. I can get you that
So
information.
you could probably fit at least a dozen side by side in something like that.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going south on I-5 and you're on the right-hand side, is it the Grandview Business Park or whatever, they put that storage canopy up along the freeway, and initially it had 1 or 2, and now I think they use a shoehorn to get them in there. They've got as many as they can possibly squeeze underneath that roof. So
I haven't seen that. I'll have to go by.
Yeah, the difference again between mini storage is they have all individual storage units with walls in between them and power and lights, and
Right.
so it just that canopy only structure just really doesn't fit into any of our descriptions.
I agree.
like carport, basically.
It is basically a carport. Yeah,
Where do they want to put these at, Henry? On the guide where?
the guide. And boy, they trick me with these tough questions.
Didn't you say Pole Road last time?
Yeah, it's in the Pole Road. It's in that area. Pole Road.
That's what I thought you had said last time.
Yeah. I don't know where they went. We got so many projects, we can't keep track of all of our plans.
Somewhere within our response area.
It's the middle of the guide, so.
Yeah, I think Pole Road comes up to me as well. I think that was, so. All right, any other comments, concerns, questions? Henry, thank you for dealing with this and bringing it to our attention. All in favor of Resolution 2020-21?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
And I guess unless you have anything else, Henry, if you just want to hang out and listen to us, you're welcome to. But Chief, I don't know if you have anything else for Henry.
So I will point out now that this fee structure will only apply outside the city limits of Blaine. I was waiting for you to approve it, and then I will bring the additional classification to the city of Blaine. And I would assume that they would adopt it and add it to their fee structure, because they've literally taken this and made this their fee structure. Although I'm not sure how many canopies would be built in the city limits of Blaine, but it would help us in this division if we kept all the tables the same. I'd hate to see us start charging different things, within the city and within the county. So once you have approved it, I will make sure that I get it to the city next week's Thanksgiving week, probably the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. One last thing I thought of, Henry, was we were talking about using the van, I think at our last meeting, and you had given me an update on the status of that, if you wouldn't mind sharing
Sure.
that with the rest of the board.
Sure. The county said they were great. They said, thank you very much for the opportunity to use your van. There were some concerns about who would be driving the van from your end. Well, those same concerns came up from Incident Command, and to this day, they still don't have an answer to that. So they don't have drivers for the van. In the meantime, that we offered our van to loan them, WTA has offered to give them a van. They have a surplus van. And so they're looking at taking that option, because then they would own it. But they're still struggling with who's going to drive it, how's it going to be disinfected, the PPE and all of the COVID components. It's not just driving it down the road, but is it a COVID positive, not a COVID positive, all the different things that come along with our lovely COVID hotel project. So they say thank you, but now we're not going to use it. So we're good to go. But they're very, very appreciative of us willing to let them use it.
All right, thank you for that update. Our next resolution 2020-22 is a large surplus equipment inventory. So basically it's our normal way of taking care of extra equipment that we don't need or doesn't work anymore. So why don't we go ahead and have a motion for resolution 2020-22, and then we'll have a little discussion.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. And Chief, can you enlighten us on this multi-page list of, was some of this at Station 11, or was
No,
this just all our?
This is just us hoarding. These are, most of these items are from Station 63, actually. These are old radio. You'll see pages of old radios, which are wide-banded. We're no longer allowed to use them. Nozzles, which are either out of compliance, beyond repair, or just, they're just no longer serviceable to us based on what kind of equipment we're using. There's hose in there. There's just, these are just items that are worn out, not beyond repair, and are ready to move on to a different place. And this is how we can get rid of things. A lot of this, some of these items, I would say a lot of them are, Commissioner Crawford can probably enlighten us to what will happen to most of the radios. They're going to go to a place they can actually be used. There's further on in the meeting, there's an ask from the city of Linden for some of the nozzles, and the other items we will auction off or get rid of appropriately.
Fair enough. Mr. Crawford, do you have any update for us on the radio issue?
Yeah, so Saturday, the Darley's heading south, and I spoke with Elliot and Mark up there at Station 70, and I've taken a box of those radios. So there's about 18 handheld radios, and I made contact with the Firefighters United rep, and they can actually use those along with the spare batteries wherever they go. It won't be in the United States. He does have several entities that he's working with, so they might show up in Asia, they might show up in Mexico. It's all dependent on where he decides to hand these off to.
Very good. Thank you for helping out with that. Any other questions or comments? The picture that you included in your report, Chief, was pretty impressive. That was all mostly nozzles and
Hose appliances and nozzles.
appliances. Yeah, wow. They're going to be able to park a whole nother apparatus up there at 63 when they get rid of all this stuff.
Yeah, I think now we meet the load limit in the mezzanine is what it's more like. I think we may have been exceeding it just a tad. So.
Gotcha. All right. So resolution 2020-22 has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Chief. And I know we don't have a per se facilities person, which will come up in our discussions, but who helped manage the collection and inventorying of all this equipment?
So we currently have a firefighter on light duty, and he has been assigned to do that. He's been working with Elliot on, like I said, cleaning out the mezzanine and categorizing and logging all these items. And that's who the picture came from.
All right. Well, if you pass our appreciation on for a lot of work taking care of all that stuff. We appreciate it.
I will pass it on to him.
All right, City of Linden has a nozzle request in our correspondence. It was a letter, pretty self-explanatory. They have done a summer warmer weather community event, and they use old fire nozzles. And seeing or hearing that we may have had a few extras that are non-usable in a combat situation, they have asked us to donate those. Chief, you got
Yes, you summed it up pretty well. They've asked us to donate some nozzles, and turns out that the gentleman working on light duty might also be a city councilor for the city of Linden, and so he knew they had a need, so he connected us with the city parks director, and that's where the donation request came from. So,
and I assume that absolves us from any sort of liability if we donate those to their
yes,
cause.
we've declared them surplus. The city of Linden has asked for the donation. They know what they're theirs now.
All right. So do you need any sort of motion, or, I mean, we've already
No,
declared these items as surplus, so.
They've been surplus. I just wanted you to know where they're going. They're not just going in a dumpster.
Very good.
We're going to endeavor to make money where we can and donate to community, other communities that need them as we can as well.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yep. Keep them
Very
out of landfill.
Yeah.
Same with the radios. That was a big thing with the radios, is what do you do with old electronics, and the ones that don't go to be repurposed in a place like Mexico or some country in Asia. We'll make sure that they're not going to go to a landfill. They'll go to an electronics recycler where they can, the electronics recycler is actually a place it's a place where maybe people that are learning a skill or developmentally disabled people work, and it gives them an opportunity to tear these radios apart and reuse the parts that can be, the circuit boards and some of the transistors and things, so they're not ending up in the garbage. So.
Yeah, and a bunch of batteries too, right?
Exactly.
All right. Very good. Thank you. So I asked to talk about facilities and maintenance. We had budgeted for this year, I believe $75,000 to hire a facilities person, civilian, and we have not filled that position. And in my travels around the district, I have noticed that some of our facilities are in dire need of some minor repairs. Some of it's cosmetic. Actually, some of it is beginning to become structural. And I kind of wanted to have a discussion and figure out what our options might be here, whether, we hire somebody full-time or we contract out to somebody to go around and take a close look. I know Henry is still on right now. He used to sort of carry I think a can of paint and a toolbox around with him wherever he went. But, for as many facilities as we have and the kind of weather we get here, we're seeing some wear and tear. And I think personally, I would like to see us work on these and get them safe and sound and buttoned up. So Chief, I don't know if you've given this some thought or have any recommendations for us, but I wanted to bring that up today.
Sure. I think when I initially floated this, it seemed like a good idea to hire somebody. And I still believe that. I just don't know that we're in with the building that's going on. Anybody that you can find has these set of skills, they're all busy. They're they're swinging a hammer, they're painting, they're doing their thing. I have come to realize that probably a better way to do this, instead of add another FTE, might be to contract out with a company that does this for, or a person that does this for a living. And whether that's someone that we know and trust who's sitting in the same Zoom call, or we go somewhere else, I don't know. But I just, as I start to learn more and more about the cost of an FTE for that type of work, I think we could get more bang for our buck by outsourcing it, and let somebody else worry about the benefits and retirement versus us paying those things. That we can actually get more work done that way.
So what would you say? I mean, is our 75,000 still a viable budget item, or have we begged, borrowed, stolen, and moved that to other places? Or where I'm just trying to say, if we can say, hey, go out and get somebody, and for now, maybe we need to set a limit. However, if we get into them finding something bigger, we might have to readdress it.
Right. No, we haven't chewed up any of that money yet. The 75K. We're just now. It has been a heavy maintenance year. We've had some, as usual, it's the 2020 curse, right? We've had some bigger things go wrong, and you require maintenance, and we're just now getting over what we budgeted for facilities maintenance. And of course, as soon as that happened, we got a couple more things that are, that just crop up, that are, a leaky water heater on the second floor, and, all these things. So that the salary funds are still there. If that's the board's direction, I will absolutely go out, and we'll find the best person for the job. I just, like I said, I'm starting to think that we might be able to get more bang for our buck by us not having to, pour more admin time into another FTE that's, separate from our we got our bargaining unit. That's big and easy. Nita would probably disagree with me, but that's, it's all rolled into one. So to add another civilian, it's going to require some time and startup costs. Whereas a company that I outsource to, I can call them, have a discussion about the contract for services, and then we get the work done starting immediately. We don't have to buy tools, we don't have to buy supplies. It just happens.
Well, would it be fair to say, hey, we've got $75,000 to start with? Can we at least get rolling on some of these things that really, in my opinion, probably ought to be addressed before we really get into winter? Some of it's painting, some of it's rot, some of it's,
Yep.
moss buildup or et cetera. Henry, I'm
I just want to point out, when you get into those type projects, there's financial thresholds
sure.
on how much work you can do to so many dollars, and you're aware of this. And if it gets to a certain dollar, it has to be pre-approved as a capital improvement. So just be aware that you can't just carte blanche say, hey, for $75,000, go fix everything. You're going to have to do that within the parameters of the rules.
Henry, let me ask you this. I mean, I know you've been out of it for a while, but do you see if there's a benefit? Do we have enough work to go out and hire somebody full-time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I was gonna,
I
if
mean,
you're open,
certainly that person could keep busy full-time. It just, yeah. Do you want them to look like Taj Mahals, or you just want them, to be, I think it's probably more, if I had to give you my suggestion, I'd look at somebody that could manage your facilities, and then let that person have the ability to subcontract some things out and do some things on his own. And yeah, it's not, I don't think it's a full-time job.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chief, I'm kind of on board with what you said. Maybe, talk to these companies and see what they can offer us. Again, we're not buying tools and things like that. They should have those on hand. I don't know if I'd be knocking on their door saying, hey, I have $75,000 and let's go nuts. But maybe get some quotes of what we need and what they can do.
Well,
Kimberly, you had to,
if you're interested, my husband is one of those people. He is a jack of all trades. He can paint, he can moss, he's unbelievable in all the skill sets that he has. And he's not looking for a full-time job, but he likes to stay busy, and he is a retired firefighter, so he's already on pension, so he wouldn't be looking for that or health benefits or anything like that, but just some little jobs to just get done and help. And if it's bigger than what he can do, he'll report that. And he has all the tools of the trade. He wouldn't have to, and the trucks and everything he needs. And the bigger projects, of course, we just hire that out for somebody else. And
so obviously we would want to avoid any conflict of interest
I understand.
issues with something like this. And so in fairness to, I think at one time I had heard another name come up as might be potentially interested as well. So it's probably something we kind of need to locally advertise or do something
That's fair.
and see who we might attract. But I think there's enough work for a period of time, but not forever. It's getting caught up. Especially stations that aren't staffed full time. That just, I look at Simiamu. It was an example where I took some pictures and there's nobody there and it's just sitting there, and it's just. Fortunately, we put a new roof on it before Henry left and did some of that, but it's really starting to show its age and wear. And that whole area now is getting built up around it, and more people are driving by it. And I don't want it to look like it's an abandoned building.
Hey, Bruce, I know we kind of shot ourselves in the foot on this one by letting the housing authority, basically we were renting it to them and then we kind of moved them on, looking at it becoming a resident station. That didn't happen. Have we ever thought about going back out and maybe opening it up to office use again to somebody? I know Simiama has built their own building, but maybe somebody local that can use it as office space.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Right now, we're kind of holding on to it for COVID. For if we had firefighters that had to
Isolate.
quarantine, because it's such a good housing area, and that's when this is all over, right? Yeah, absolutely. Because we were headed down that road, making contact with the Simiama Resort. You know what it is? Simiama Resort Association, I believe.
Yeah, they're
Homeowners Association.
Homeowners Association, and if you followed any of the editorials in the Northern Light, there was a pretty big riff about them going out and building that maintenance facility and housing their people, and we kind of got jabbed for kicking them out. So, but at the time, we thought we had a plan, and we had a different administration then, and we're kind of going in a different direction. But yeah, I mean, if we're not planning on staffing that station, and if you look at our plan, by the way, I just want to, for the record, Commissioner Fisher has joined us at 1:55 p.m. Welcome, Scott. And the ESCI plan basically shows that station is really not being in an ideal location for our master planning, although there is a ton of housing up there. But even if we were to have an aid car transport, it's just kind of in a bad location to get to a lot of places quickly. So I agree that maybe we ought to start looking for a tenant for that structure.
Sorry to get off base, but since you brought it up, but I believe that maybe we should go ahead and give the chief the ability to contact a company so that we can get some of these facility problems addressed.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's I'm sure on that laundry list of things I'd like to do when I have a moment to breathe, Chief, and which will bring us to our next topic here, brief in coming up. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it for the board. I think, you know, if we let these things go much longer, we're going to be in a lot bigger repair and maintenance issue than if we can get on it sooner. And I see Henry waving his finger again over there.
I don't want to interrupt, but maybe I would just maybe make a suggestion that somebody develop a scope of work, you know, painting, plumbing, the things that you're looking to have done, and then post it for bid. And if you get 3 bids, you won't have any issues with the auditor. If you just give it to somebody without, you know, we know this guy, you know me, I know you, that's where the audit problems come in. But if you go out to bid and you say, here's the scope of work we were looking for, here's the price we got, we took the lowest price, or we took not the lowest price because you don't have to take the lowest price because of the quality of the work or the history for whatever reason. Then when 2 years from now, when audit comes around and you forgot you did all this, it'll sail right through and you won't have to remember, what did we do 2 years ago, right, when this came up? So that'd just be a thought that I would have.
Yeah, I guess in order to do that, though, we almost need to get somebody to go around with a notepad and make a laundry list of what we need. I mean, there are definitely painting issues, but there is some, you know, rotted stairwell at Simiamu, and there's, you know, a tree leaning, and there's a driveway that needs to be pressure washed, and you know, and of course, who's got the time to do all that? Oh, is that your hand up again? And you know, I'm not going to tell the chief that's your responsibility. So, you know, maybe we have somebody in the organization with that kind of experience that you know, we can pay him some overtime to go around and make that list up for us. I think would be beneficial. I certainly am not going to tell the fire chief to go out and do this personally. It's not.
You could keep it really generic and just say, we have a requirement for painting. We have a requirement for cleaning of driveways. We have a requirement for fixing of broken stairs, and just keep it very generic.
Right. And then I guess if someone was interested in doing that, then they would probably drive around and say, hey, yeah, I've looked at your facilities and this is what I think it would cost to get them up to speed.
Or this much per hour, or, you know, some kind of an agreement.
Very good. That sounds like a wonderful suggestion. I appreciate your knowledge and your experience in this area.
Thanks, Henry. I'll probably
I was going to say the same thing.
I might have you proofread my ad.
Unless it's an emergency breakdown, and then you can, yeah, that separates from general maintenance.
Right.
If something actually breaks down physically, that, you know, hot water heater or something that you have to have fixed, you don't have to go out and bid for that, but they prefer you to use the small works roster for that.
Very good. All right.
Do we have a small works roster? Or is
Yes,
it
there is a small works roster. Oops.
Yes.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, not to add more to your plate, but it sounds like moving on to our next personnel recruitment issue, that could be something that could be assigned to a potential acting assistant chief position if we're moving forward with that.
Yes, sir. So the ad's been out since Tuesday morning for temporary division chief of operations. I've taken some phone calls about it, and the closing, they need to notify me that they're interested is 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then I plan to interview, hopefully I'll have some applicants. I think I've talked to 5 or 6 people already. And so hopefully some of them will choose to apply, and I will do some interviews next week, and we'll come up with a start date that I get that I can get some help on the floor here with me. In the meantime, I did want to keep you up to date. Right now, today and tomorrow, we are doing what we call speed interviews for new hires for entry level and lateral firefighters. That's happening at Station 61. It was supposed to be in person with some COVID restrictions in place, but based on Sunday's press conference with the governor, that's all changed and we've gone to a completely online format. So I want to definitely say thanks to Kelly Freeman and the 4 firefighters that are sitting on that panel today for being flexible and working with us as they work with something new, which is called Zoom. So it's been a little bit of a shift, but it went off really without a hitch. And so I spoke with Kelly early this afternoon, and it sounds like they've already seen some great candidates. So things are looking up. We've asked to reserve 3 spots up at North Bend. They are actually going to run the academy in January. It's going to be a small academy of 16 people. And so yeah, things, and the next piece will be, once we're done with this initial interview process, is we'll be rolling out lieutenants, captains, and training captain assessment center and test to backfill some of these promotions that are going to be taking place. So
Very good. A lot of work to be done under trying circumstances. I know I've seen Kelly working really hard on all these interview packets and sorting through the stuff, and certainly appreciate the extra time and effort that it's taking her. I understand that when those notices went out, her phone number was added to the list, and she spent all of Veterans Day answering the phone for these scheduling their interviews. So we need to make that up to her.
yeah, that was sorry. Yes, that was not. It wasn't a mistake. It was just when she sent out the instructions on how to make your appointment for the speed interview, it had her email signature on it, which happens to have her work cell phone number on it. And so all day last Wednesday, Veterans Day, she fielded phone calls from interested, excited applicants, which is great. But I told her I owe her another Veterans Day. So
that first call came in before her first cup of coffee, I understand.
Yep, that's what I hear.
Anyway, thank her for putting up with that, and also let's make sure that she gets her holiday off.
Yep.
All right.
Well, and her husband will make sure she does too. So.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for the update. I think it will be nice to have somebody helping you out in the chief's duties, and there's certainly plenty of work to go around. So
Yep.
Look forward to getting that position filled. Next item is correspondence. In our packet, there were a thank you letter. There was the letter from Lyndon about the nozzles. There was a Whatcom County Auditor's Office ballot measure timeline. I think that's more important for our RFA planning committee information. So we'll make sure, Jenny, that gets added to that RFA packet or forwarded to Karen Reed and Mark Chamberlain so that they know, and Scott here, obviously, to see what our timelines are for filing ballot measures and getting our RFA done in a timely fashion. It looks like May 14th is the deadline for the August 3rd election. So and interestingly, the bid matrix that Henry referred to is in our correspondence. So we actually have the the flow chart from the SNR law office as to what the cost limits are and what you have to do for going out for bid and what has to be bid and not bid. So if you were wondering what Henry was talking about, that should be in our packet for you to refer to. And next is a announcement for the board meeting attendance of December 17th. And I'm understanding that that's got to be a public hearing because we've got some budget stuff going on, Chief.
Yes.
I'm assuming we're going to have a special budget.
There will be a special budget meeting before the 17th. Yes. Sorry. You said I need help. My phone's going crazy. So yes, prior to the 17th, we'll have a special like a budget study session. It'll have to be online, but that's Benita and I's main project the next 2 days. So yes, early in December.
Now, my feelings is that this isn't going to be a huge revamp of how we budget. It's going to be our new AVs and, cost of living adjustments and increased expenses, but there shouldn't be any quote big surprises here.
There's going to be no big surprises, no building projects, possibly the addition of one more aid car. But other than that, I do not see any big capital project, no huge capital projects outside of things we've done in the normal past, just because we're still, I at least am still really hesitant to find out what the impact of COVID is on the local economy. And I don't want to get us tied into something that's going to hurt us in the long run. So as we feel things a couple of years behind the local, the population does, just because municipal finances take time to kind of trickle down, I guess. I don't see us doing nothing crazy. It's going to be a maintenance year.
Right. I guess the only two wild cards money-wise would be the mitigation fund, which Henry is still online here. And if there were any recommendations, I know that there's pretty close restrictions as to what that money can be used for, but I also know that we have a 5-year moving window of having to use that money, and we're bringing in, it seems like, quite a bit right now. I just don't want to lose any of that money. So if in that budgeting, you can maybe give us an idea of where we are in the mitigation fund and allotment, and if Henry has any suggestions that we might be able to use that money for that is needed. I know there were a couple of office things that we had to add because of how we review plans and stuff now. And I think that's an appropriate use of those mitigation funds for that. But if there's something in your, fire marshaling stuff that's happening that we could address and make your guys' job easier or better or improved, I think that would be useful.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Benita this morning about the schedule for how we've taken mitigation funds in, and we talked about the fact of keeping that up to date, and it is kept up to date so that we know when the funds come in, and if they had to be refunded, how we would do that. So that, just know that we do have that spreadsheet is in place already, the tracking of the funds.
We prefer not to refund those monies.
Correct.
And then, of course, the GEMT money, which I know the majority so far is going to purchasing new aid cars.
Yep.
Which are delayed because of COVID and labor issues.
As is the new fire engine.
Yeah, I had to order something from Florida today, and it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks. And I said, wow, that's a long time. She goes, yeah, we just don't have the personnel to do the work. They're all affected by COVID. So it's impacting a lot of things.
Well, the manufacturer for the aid car is in Florida, and the manufacturer for the engine is in South Dakota, which both states have been really, really hard hit. And
Yeah.
they just don't have people to work right now.
Which sort of, I guess, comes back around to us in maintenance costs, because these aid cars that we're running with 150,000+ miles on them are falling apart, and it's just costing us more and more in maintenance to keep them on the road. So hopefully we can get those new ones out here sooner than later.
Can't be soon enough.
Yeah. All right. So everyone's good for December 17th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you'll do, or have Jenny do a doodle poll or something for the budget meeting?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. And just FYI, my schedule, I will be able to attend Zoom. I have to head to Arizona for some family issues. And we'll probably be down there for 2 months. I'm leaving next Tuesday. So hopefully the state border patrols will allow me to travel through without sending me back home. But anyway, I will be available by phone, text, email, and Zoom. So not physically to go around and paint fire station.
Yeah.
All right. Agenda items for the next meeting. Fan of that one, under that one. We've got the fire marshal interlocal agreement. That seems to just go on forever. Anyone else have any agenda items? Obviously, the budget approval.
Yep.
Are we looking at doing the budget study on a weekend, Jason, or are we going to try to do that during a weekday?
I'll have Jenny do a doodle poll that includes weekends. How's that?
Do you have
Would that work better for you,
preference
sir?
or concern?
Well, Thursdays or Fridays work best for me right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll doodle poll that. It's going to be way different than it used to be, where we sat in a room for the whole day and, got an update and wish lists and stuff. And because of COVID, I think the plan is it to be pretty down and dirty. I'm thinking no more than a couple hours, right? And,
Yep.
No team building exercise.
no, sorry,
Building,
but
no icebreakers.
John, we'll do the trust fall with you if you want. I don't know how well it will work over Zoom, but we can try.
Welcome
It
to
looks like
the meeting, Commissioner Fisher.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? I appreciate everyone. Yes, Henry.
I did find it. We are organized. We're just slightly behind. So there's the plan on that project. It's actually address is 7133 Guide Meridian, and it's on the corner of West Bartlett Road.
Coming to an
And
end.
every building is a different size. The largest one is 250 by 40. And
Wow.
the smallest one is 75 by 40. And there is a small office proposed. And of course, the office will pay the office rate. Well, right. So, and yeah, there's 7 of those on this plat of land here. So I can show it to you. There you go.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, we got it together. It was just tucked underneath a piece of paper there.
Know exactly where it's going, don't you there, Commissioner McMurray?
I do.
All right. Last would be signing of documents. We've been able to manage that fairly proficiently, I think. So make sure you get a hold of the chief and come on in and sign what we need to sign. And if there's nothing else before the board, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Removed.
A second.
Motion to adjourn. Sorry.
Second, to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Meeting is adjourned at 2:16 PM. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving and holiday season.